Hi everyone, Bethany here. Welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to do a unicorn faux leather hair bow. I did a little experiment beforehand just to see if my design would work, and I learned a few things. So I'm going to tell you all about them as we go along. So let me get the Cricut design space up on my computer real quick and we'll get started. So here we have a new canvas on Cricut Design Space, and I'm going to go ahead and upload a new folder, SVG. Man, I need sleep. That's what happens when you have a newborn. Don't get much sleep. Alright, so let me upload it. I like to do the whole drag and drop thing, so let me pull up. So here I have the hair bow that I created in Illustrator, and I'm going to give myself some keywords so when I look for it the next time I can pull it up pretty quickly. Alright, I'll select it and add to canvas, and I sized it according to what I wanted already, so there's no resizing needed. You'll see this gold, that is going to be HTV on top. Also, I'm going to do HTV behind this unicorn horn. Click Make It. Now you can see all three of these cuts that are going to be the same color. They're actually not. This horn is going to have the HTV behind it, and the bow itself with the little tie or ribbon, whatever, that's going to be a completely different cut. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to automatically put this as a different mat. So click on it until the three dots appear, then do Move Object, and we're going to move it to a new, let's just make it purple, and confirm. So it's going to show up on the purple. And now we are ready to do our cuts. So here you can see I have the hair bow base is going to be out of this glittery hot pink faux leather from Hobby Lobby. And I already, if you can't tell, I have cut my initial one on here, but I'm going to bray it down just in case. I lined up my cut here on the Cricut Design Space, and I'm going to just load it in, and then in Design Space I'm going to select Faux Leather Paper Thin, and I'm going to keep it on the default. This is a very thin faux leather from Hobby Lobby. I like this faux leather because it cuts great in terms of glitter, because it's a very fine glitter. And now I'm going to press go, which for those of you who don't know, that is the Cricut C here. And you can tell that my tape is a little bit old because it's starting to come up. But I like to use my tape until it's basically falling off the mat completely. So to check the cut, we are going to peel up completely. I've learned to not just peel up a corner, but to do the entire thing, because sometimes it'll cut one space and miss another. So there's a little string that it didn't cut, but that's okay. And here, yep, it cut the whole thing. Alright, so I'm going to unload that. And then we are going to load this very beautiful unicorn vinyl from Tiny Tea Boutique on Etsy. I like using them. Now you can tell I need some new painter's tape to help hold this down. So before I do the cut, I'm going to add painter's tape fully around. I like to do the painter's tape before I bray. Sometimes I'll do both, but you always want to make sure that painter's tape is down as well too. I've heard people say don't fold it over the sides. I still do. I just don't do it too much because it will gunk up your machine. I just pay attention to if it starts unraveling within the machine that, oh yep, I definitely need to move that out of the way, so then I'll pause the cut and redo it. And then bring it down. This one I'm going to go back on Design Space, and I'm going to change the pressure to more because I cut it before and I felt like it just needed a little bit more oomph to it. So now I'm going to press go and let that cut. Alright, I'm going to unload that. Double check my cut before I unload that next time. But I had confidence because it worked the last time. The next cut is not actually faux leather. It is our foil HTV. So in Design Space, we're going to make sure mirror is on. And I have a green mat out for it. And we are going to click the custom materials and we're going to change it to foil iron on. Default pressure seems to work just fine. So then foil, you would place shiny side or colored side, in this case, down on the mat. And I got this, this is a gold foil HTV from 143 Vinyl. I love their foil HTV. It's amazing. And I'm going to load it and then let it cut out that. In the meantime, I'm going to set up for putting on the HTV on the back of the next cut. Let's unload that, set it aside, and we will weed that in a minute. But before we start this next cut, I have the faux leather from Hobby Lobby. This is the pearl pink, which is really pretty. And I have the same foil leather, but I'm going to put this on the back of this because it needs a little bit of reinforcement. Plus, that's just not pretty to see on the back of a bow. Because you know how bows are in people's hairs, both people still see the backside. So we're going to fancy it up a little bit by adding the HTV. So I have this, I have my Teflon sheet here, and because I'm using the Cricut mini press, I kind of just play it by ear. I don't have an exact, this is how many seconds it takes, but also because I'm putting the foil iron on the, or HTV on the front, I need to not do a full blast of this. So now this is cooled a little bit, I'm going to rip off the carrier sheet real quick. And it's okay if the edges aren't great. It's not the goal of this. I'm more looking for the middle to be secured. So now that that's done, we're going to go ahead and put this on our very used purple strong grip mat. And I'm going to actually put it in the corner and tape it down. You can tell that this tape is probably well worn as well. Alright, and then we're going to bray it, load it, and we're going to change the material back. We're going to change the materials back to faux leather here, and because this is a thicker cut, we're going to do more, and we've got to be prepared to also do a second cut because the first time I did this, I definitely needed a second cut. So now we're going to check and see if it cut all the way through. And it looks like it needs a little bit more. So we're going to do a second cut, and to do a second cut immediately, you just press the Cricut Go button right away. Don't unload, because if you unload, then it will be just a hair off. And if you keep it in the machine, it'll still remember exactly where the starting point is. Alright, let's try it again. Ta-da! It came all the way off. Alright, so let's unload and we will start piecing together. So the first part of piecing together, we're going to take the front side of the foil, the gold foiled HTV, and we are going to place it, weed it first obviously, and then we're going to place it on top of the base part of the horn. The nice thing about this HTV is it's pretty thin, so it doesn't take a lot of effort to weed. It's not super thick like some iron-ons can be super thick. And stick, this is a little bit more fine. So then, now that we have the cut, I'm going to place it over and line it up as best as we can. If it goes over a little bit, we'll just trim it with the scissors, that's fine. And then using our Teflon sheet, going to just do it for about 8 seconds. And with semi-firm, and double check that it looks okay. Yep. Alright, so I'm going to set that aside to cool while we start piecing together the rest. I know some of you may have seen the last video I did comparing the glues of the faux leather, and I have to give you a warning. I used the E600 for my test run, and this is what happened. The back side of the E6000, excuse me, not E600, the E6000 actually exploded. The back side exploded on me when I was squeezing out, and it was coming out effectively out the front, but it completely came out the back side. So guess what? This whole tube is basically now slowly drying already. So I am no longer saying use this. I am saying to use the art glitter glue. The test run I did, I exclusively used the art glitter glue after the E6000 crapped out on me, and it worked out pretty well. So the harder one to glue is going to be the one with the thicker backing, but you still want to place a nice dab in it. And as long as you have these Dollar Tree clips, it's actually not that difficult to, you can still kind of do the next layers while it's still a little bit damp. So I'm going to press this for a little bit while I get to the next one. And this is the back with the hot pink, which I think is really fun. Goes with a lot of girly stuff. I think both of my girls have more hot pink in their wardrobe than anything else, which I never intended for my girls to be wearing hot pink. I was always like, yeah, they're going to be tomboys like me. Nope, they have hot pink almost everything. Alright, so I'm going to let that sit aside for a second while I take the carrier sheet off of this. And you want to peel slowly, and if you can, put a thumbnail or get a tweezers to help you, because the gold HTV sometimes will peel up if it's not directly to the corner. But you can see that you have a good seal when you can see the edges of the faux leather behind it. And sometimes I like to do this where I do one final press. I'm going to actually do one extra press without the carrier sheet on it. I feel like it gives it that little bit extra, just like a couple seconds, to really firm it up. And it seems to work really well. And now you definitely can see the texture, which makes for a better unicorn horn anyways. So let's get that out of the way. Not knock over my glue. Alright, so those have had a couple of seconds, and I'm going to roll up my sleeves so I don't get glue all over them. So this took a little bit to figure out, but basically I have it semi-pinched or semi-tacky still from the last set. Then I'm going to put this with the clip still there, pinch it again. Now last time one of these came apart, but this time it didn't, so that works. Then while still gripping it with one hand, placing the front there. And I like to, if you've seen my other videos, I like to put the top down last. So we're going to put the bottom up first. Then while still gripping, I'm going to put the glue on the bottom flap. Not too much, because it's going to have more glue over it anyways. Just enough to get that grip going. Then, same thing here. Glue onto the flap. Fold. And then, while it's still folded, you can actually add more glue on top, because this is where your unicorn horn is going to go. And there you are. So now you can clip it and let it rest for a little bit. So before we finish the hair bow and put it to the clip, we are going to add this really pretty glitter tulle that I got from Hobby Lobby. And it doesn't need to be exact, but try to be as close as possible to a straight line. So I'm just going to cut 2 little slips of this. And of course it wants to move on me, so it's not exactly straight. But the point is not to necessarily be straight, because I'm going to just do a quick fold. And I will be using hot glue for this, just for the simple fact that hot glue works best when you're working with tulle. It's easier to grip to the fine folds, so to speak, of the tulle. I'm going to clip off this little excess. Move that out of the way. Alright, and then I'm going to stuff this. I'm going to actually fold it, so it's got a little bit more going on to it. It's going to get inserted behind the bow. It's also going to make it a little flatter for the hair bow to adhere to. So now that it's folded, let me throw some glue on there. Not too much, just enough. I'll pinch it, and then I get these little finger grip or finger covers from the Dollar Tree, and I use that to become my press. So I'm not gunking up one of my clips here. Alright. Then spreading it out. If I need to do any re-maneuvering, I just add a little bit more glue real quick. Do the same thing. So it's spread out and looks cute. And then we're going to add to the other side. Same thing. Now we are ready to add it to the hair clip. So in order to do that, we got to take the big clip off. Take all the excess hot glue, the stringiness off. And this little 1 3/4 inch alligator clip that I got from Hobby Lobby. What we're going to do is we're just going to add a layer directly to the clip first. The flat side, not the extra curved side. They're the flatter side. They're both like that. So I'm just going to add a thin layer first. And if I need to add more, I will. I'm also going to do this trick that I haven't tried before, but we're going to do it. We're going to add a little layer of hot glue right there in the middle where I want it to go, so it doesn't slip. Because what's been happening is I clip it and it'll slip. So, trying this for the first time, but hoping that the combination of the hot glue and the art glitter glue will give you a finer press for the barrette itself. Then I'm going to do my trick of sticking the parchment paper in between once it's been placed, and then using the Dollar Tree clip and clipping it all together So I'm going to let it rest overnight, and we will see what it looks like when it's completely dry. So I let the unicorn hair bow dry overnight, and this is what it looks like when it's dry and everything is nice and put together. And I think it's perfect. So after many unsuccessful tries, I think we have a final successful product. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. If you have an idea and you want me to do it, I will do it. Also, if you would like to support us and purchase the SVG or anything else in our shop, I will provide a link below once the SVG is available. And I hope you all have a wonderful day. Happy making!